Tracy Quasier.
Is it possible that she could kill someone sailing? If there's an air bubble in her syringe, I've heard that the air bubble can go to the heart. Would she kill someone that way? My mom. I was 16. I had just signed up for this amazing health mission group. We were at the parent, meeting to talk about this. I'm 16. I know what I'm doing. In fact, I know for sure that I want to do something kind of medically, but not too much blood. And I also want to do something really helpful, which is a great career path that I'm on. And so, when the kids came to my high school and gave this amazing presentation about the fact that, yes, you in high school can go to South America and do healthy stuff, I was like, oh my God, I'm all in. Also, I'm a really big rule follower. I mean, I loved being in marching band because of the numbers and the precision. And I also worked in the high school library because I loved putting books back in the right place. And so this was like a culmination of all of that, because it was a year worth of training, and then there were all these rules, and there was this really neat color-coded 3-ring binder. I mean, I was in heaven. And to be fair to my mother, one of the ways that you have to practice giving injections is that we would, for hours on Saturday, go around and inject each other again and again and again with the saline. So it was probably okay that my mom asked that question, but oh my God, moms, shh. So I'm very excited that I get selected to do the vaccination clinic in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. The other choices were latrines or veterinary, so this seemed cooler and kind of cleaner. I also had this vision that we would work in kind of an older hospital with ceiling fans and nurses with those little cute white hats, and sort of like call the midwife vibes, I think is what I thought. And so, of the many surprises, because it was like Russian nesting doll of surprises, is that we did report to the Centro de Salud. And then they gave us each a little red and white igloo cooler with ice syringes, alcohol swabs, syringes and needles, and of course the vaccines. And then they put us in a van, and then they just drove through neighborhoods, and they dropped us off in the middle of nowhere. And I will, to this day, decades later, I remember my partner and I just standing there like, okay. Because this wasn't in the handbook. So we'd have to knock, and basically sort of like Girl Scout cookies in a way, but more personal, door to door. Hi, we're here to vaccinate your kids. And then over time, as time went on, they just knew. And again, this is before the internet or cell phones for that matter. And so we would just be dropped off, and we'd be like, wait for it. And then we'd be swarmed by these kids. And then they'd be like, vacuna lady. And I'd be like, yeah, that's us, because we have our coolers. They know what the deal is. And then they argued over who got to go first, which we were really surprised by. And then the other thing that was a really interesting surprise is that the alcohol swabs, for whatever reason, were always closest to the ice on the bottom. And so when we swiped their arm, it was so cold that they would cry. And they would cry. And then we'd inject, and then we'd say, you're done. And they were like, what? Wait, what? So that was always interesting. Thankfully, the biggest surprise, and my rule follower's heart had its biggest challenge the last week. We ended up in a neighborhood that actually had a community center, which we were excited about. And within, probably a half an hour, there are hundreds of kids, dozens and dozens of families. Everybody knows everybody. And so we got our work cut out for us. And right towards the end, when we're about to close up, this father comes in with 4 boys, all under the age of 10. Oh, they're just so cute. And he hands me the first one. And the first one, who's just little, he's still in that little waddler toddler phase, so cute. And he comes up, and when I swipe him with the alcohol swab, he says nothing. And I was like, well, that's a first. first. And then when I put the shot in, though, oh, he cries. It is the worst thing that has happened to him in his life. And I've gotten a little immune to it, but he was so young. And the dad walks up and he picks the kid up and he hits him and he says, be a man. And I was like, oh. And then he has 3 more sons. And as the sons get older, the beatings get more intense. And I'm standing there, and I have my little red and white cooler and my alcohol swabs and my syringes, and I feel so utterly at a loss of what to do. And then, I don't know why, but I had this quick flash of inspiration. For reasons we never understood, at the bottom of our igloo cooler were always 2 veterinary syringes. And about the size of, think of like a big banana. I mean, we're talking big. So I look at the father and I say, your son's always this weak? And he's like, yeah. I go, I mean, like always so weak? And he goes, yeah. And I go, so then you have to be strong, right? Yeah. So you're the strongest in your house? Yeah. He knows we're going somewhere, but he's not sure. And then I say, are you the strongest in this whole community center? And he's like, yeah. And I go, well, see, here's the thing. Because you're the strongest, you have to get a vaccine. Oh. Okay, so now we're at a détente. And I pull out the big, giant banana syringe. And I pull out the giant veterinary needle that's like 17 inches long. And I pull out the jug of saline, and I'm looking at him. And I'm pulling up all this delicious, cold saline. And in that moment, I'm like, my mommy's the smartest mommy in the world. Because when she asked that question, the answer was saline is completely benign. And then I swabbed his arm real quickly with a really cold swipe, and he yelped a little bit, and you could feel the community center was like, ah. And then I very slowly put in the needle, because it hurts when they're slow. Before I did that, of course, I had to thwack it to make sure all the bubbles are out. And then I plunged the bottom, and there was this little fountain of saline. And he's looking at me, and I'm looking at him, and I'm thinking, I'm 16, I've got ice in a syringe, this is all I got, guy. And so I plunge him in, and I'm looking at his kids, and all I can think of is, please know that how you're being treated is not okay. And I look at the dad, and he has tears running down his face. And I am so thankful now, as a mother with 16-year-old twin girls, I am so thankful that my nervous mother and father agreed to let me go into another country with nothing more than an igloo cooler to walk around door to door and vaccinate children. Because if for no other reason, that is my origin story. That's when I realized I'm just gonna have to stand up to bullies no matter what.